Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. We are live with the latest across the Northwest.
Hello there on the programme this evening.
The pressure that we're under of having to raise the money to save his life, it's unbelievable.
Elliot needs drugs to fight the cancer which threatens his life, but he and his family are having to find tens of thousands of pounds in funding.
A fatal stabbing in a busy student area. We've got the latest from the police.
Ain't no mountain high enough. Veteran and triple amputee Andy Reid on reaching the summit of Kilimanjaro.
Meet the Liverpool actor with the job of playing Hollywood's greatest leading man.
And we got to 19 Celsius for Nantwich and Myerscough earlier on today. The average is about 13. Expect that for some parts of the northwest overnight tonight. Your very mild forecast for the next few days a little later on.
Well, first tonight, the cancer patient who's having to raise thousands of pounds for life-saving treatment, which he's been denied funding for on the NHS.
Elliot Simpson is 26 and from Blackburn. He was diagnosed with an aggressive form of skin cancer in December 2020.
He needs immunotherapy to treat it, but he and his family are having to raise the money themselves. Andrew Fletcher has this report.
This is my absolute favourite.
Preparing pumpkins for a Halloween party to raise money for a vital cause. Elliot Spencer needs to find £180,000 for the immunotherapy treatment that his doctors say he needs to save his life. Elliot was diagnosed with malignant melanoma after his hairdresser noticed a mole on the back of his head.
Worst day of my life. And previously I'd been diagnosed with Crohn's disease. That was the year before. So that just made everything 10 times more complicated with when I needed to start treatment.
Normally, Elliot would have been treated with 2 immunotherapy drugs, but because of his Crohn's disease, he had to start with a single, weaker drug, which was funded on the NHS. After bowel surgery, Elliot's oncologist recommended he move on to the combined immunotherapy treatment. But the National Institute for Care and Health Excellence, NICE, would only approve funding for one of the 2 drugs, leaving Elliot to fund the second himself.
My oncologist is backing me all the way. He's put in so many appeals that just keep on getting turned down. They know that I need this treatment.
It's bad enough having the outbreak of your kid having cancer, but then to have the pressure that we're under of having to raise the money to save his life, it's unbelievable.
Elliot's parents have had to combine caring for him with campaigning for a change to the rules.
There's a young man in Blackburn who can't move on because due to a wart on his head, rather than getting an appointment with the doctor, he was asked to send in a picture. 3 months later, he was actually told he stage 4 cancer.
Their case has been taken up by their MP, Kate Holland. They've written to the Health Secretary and appealed to NICE, who told us they can't comment on individual cases.
Elliot's cancer has changed as he's progressed, and the funding hasn't. The funding is rigid and won't change, whereas the cancer is off everywhere.
As Elliot's cancer spread to his kidney and liver, his mum and dad had to consider selling their house to fund his treatment. But the kindness of family, friends and strangers means they're already halfway to their fundraising target, with charity events including a skydive and a full Monty night put on by Elliot's mates. Thanks to them, he's been able to start the treatment that's giving him hope for the future.
The doctor said if I hadn't have already started this treatment that I'm paying for, then I could have a couple of months to live. But hopefully this treatment that I've started has worked well, and we just need to save as much money as possible to carry it on for 2 years.
Andrew Fletcher, ITV News in Blackburn.
Yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye on Elliot's story. We'll, of course, keep you up to date with any new information that comes into us.
We will. In other news tonight, a murder investigation has been launched after a student was fatally stabbed in the Fallowfield area of Manchester. Part of the busy Wilmslow Road has been cordoned off for most of the day, close to student accommodation.
Yeah, police have described this as a shocking incident and patrols have been increased. Let's bring in our correspondent, Elaine Wilcox. And Elaine, you've been following the story throughout the day. What more can you tell us?
Well, police tell us at around 2 o'clock this morning, officers were flagged down and a 19-year-old student had had been stabbed. Officers tried to give him CPR and resuscitate him, but very sadly he died of his injuries in hospital later. Now, this, of course, is a very popular area with students, and many woke up to blue flashing lights and a large police presence. Part of the busy Wilmslow Road, as you say, has been cordoned off, including the University of Manchester's Owens Park student accommodation. And those we've spoken to today say they're scared.
It just makes me feel a bit unsafe about walking around, given that how the nature of this was probably someone getting injured.
It's quite scary, to be honest, when you think about it. Obviously, Fallowfield, very studenty area, and you'd think that there's quite a lot of people around, especially during the daytime.
This is like the first incident I've ever seen in my life, actually, so it's pretty shaking me up.
Now, Manchester University is providing support to its students who may be concerned, and Superintendent Neil Jones from Greater Manchester Police has said this is a terrible crime which has robbed a young man of his life. He said, "I understand it will cause great distress to a large student community, but we are actively pursuing leads," he said. Now, patrols have been increased in the area, and they are appealing for any photos, any CCTV, which can help in this murder investigation.
OK, Elaine, thank you.
Right, well, on to politics now, and we'll be live in Westminster in just a moment for details of Rishi Sunak's first Prime Minister's questions. And one of the early tests of voters' opinions after the turmoil of the past few weeks is likely to come in Chester.
Yes, that's because a by-election is to be held in the city after the resignation last week of the Labour MP, Christian Matheson. So just what are some of the issues there?
If this government can serve our families and help them and lift that level of poverty, then that works for me.
You know, I'm unable to increase my staff's wages, and that's a real bad problem because they've got a bigger cost of living at the moment, and I feel really, really bad, but I just can't increase their wages to make up for it. You know, we're all just literally hanging on by a thread right now.
It's £1 million extra that we would have to spend on our energy. And look, we're a survival portal for many of these endangered animals, and it's not as simple as just turning the heating down and putting a jumper on a Komodo dragon. It's really important that the government now step up.
Well, that was the view from Chester today. Let's bring in our political correspondent, Leisha McNally. And Leisha, lots of stuff in Mr Sunak's in-tray today. One of the things that he did address was fracking in Lancashire.
That's right, Gamal. If you needed any more proof that the new Prime Minister is very keen to draw a line between himself and his predecessor, you got it today. Fracking has been used rather as a political football over the last few weeks. Areas like Preston New Road in Lancashire, the centre of the row. It was Liz Truss who said that fracking should be allowed to take place in areas where there was local community consent. And it was just 1 week ago that Conservative MPs were being ordered to agree with her in a parliamentary vote. But today, Rishi Sunak reversed his party's position and sought to clear up any confusion. In Prime Minister's questions, he was asked whether he would restore the moratorium on fracking that was pledged in the Conservatives' 2019 manifesto. He said he stood by that promise. Now, that's been welcomed by Lancashire MPs from all across the political spectrum, though there are also calls for the government to go further.
There's no doubt that people in Lancashire are still worried because we were told it was all fine, it was all put to bed, and then of course there was the uncertainty last week. So we are really looking for a ban on fracking that's really watertight, that protects people's sense of the future, to make sure that things like earthquakes aren't going to happen in Lancashire, to make sure that we've got energy security but from renewable sources and not exploiting more fossil fuels.
So, Leisha, some would say there's quite a lot resting on Mr Sunak's performance in the House. What are people saying about how he did?
Yeah, undoubtedly. The first outing of this kind was always going to be high stakes for Rishi Sunak. But the general sense I've had from MPs today is that he's held his own. Certainly the Conservatives I've seen around Parliament look a lot happier than they have done in recent weeks. Though an old row did resurface today as well. A row about the levelling up funding formula and how the money is allocated to winning areas. Rishi Sunak was pressed on comments he made during his summer leadership election campaign. Comments which angered some northern MPs. Have a listen to this.
He was secretly recorded at a garden party in Tunbridge Wells, boasting to a group of Tory members that he personally moved money away from deprived areas to wealthy places instead. Why doesn't he now do the right thing and undo the changes that he made to those funding formulas.
There are deprived areas in our rural communities, in our coastal communities, and across the south, and this government will relentlessly support them.
Now, that video might prove a thorny issue on the doorsteps of the North West when it comes to a general election. I asked the Conservative MP for Blackpool South, Scott Benton, whether the video had bothered him.
No, it was absolutely spun out of all proportion. Of course, we have very deprived areas in the northwest, Blackpool included, but we're also deprived areas on the coast and in the south and southeast as well. So the point Rishi was making was the money needs to go where it can best be spent.
Now, the Shadow Levelling Up Secretary, Wigan MP Lisa Nandy, has written to the government calling for an independent investigation. Labour want to know how the Levelling Up funding formula was changed and what difference that change made. So even though Rishi Sunak may have convinced his own MPs, don't expect this row to go away anytime soon.
OK, Leisha McNally in Westminster Forest, thank you very much indeed.
To more of the day's news, and police say a gun discovered in a Liverpool cemetery is not linked to the murder of Olivia Pratt-Corbell. The 9-year-old was shot at her home in Dovecote in August. Her mother was injured. Thomas Cashman, who's 34 and from West Derby, has been charged with Olivia's murder and is due to stand trial in March.
The hospital in Warrington's been told it requires improvement and must make significant changes to protect people from abuse. The Care Quality Commission said 2 wards at St Mary's for men with brain injuries and autism must change by the end of next month. The hospital says it's implemented an action plan and patient safety is a top priority.
Tyson Fury is releasing a version of Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline to raise money for a mental health charity. The boxer from Morecambe has spoken openly about his own struggles with mental health. 100% of the profits from the song will be donated to men's charity Talk Club.
Go and speak to a medical professional about it straight away. And that's the mistake I made is, one, I didn't know I had a problem for years because I was in denial about it all. I thought like everyone feels like there's ups and downs and whatever. And then 2, I didn't have anybody to speak to about it. Nobody I knew understood it.
I mean, I was waiting for my invitation to come in the post to sing alongside Tyson. It never came.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
He's really good.
He's
really
but
good.
You can sing as well.
Well, I've been known to sing badly in the showers.
He
anyway.
says he's very good.
Still to come tonight.
We've got all the sport, including City's penalties problem that's giving Pep a headache.
And with the approach to Halloween, are we in for some ghoulish weather over the next few days? Will it be trick or will it be treat? Full forecast a little later on.
Well, next this evening, to the war veteran and triple amputee from Merseyside who's recently returned home after reaching the top of Africa's highest mountain.
This is just incredible. Andy Reid lost both his legs and arm after stepping on a bomb whilst out on patrol in Afghanistan 13 years ago. Now, he'd already climbed Mount Kilimanjaro once when he was in the army, but this time he returned to retrace his steps on his prosthetic limbs.
Emma Sweeney reports.
As William Blake once said, great things are done when men and mountains meet. In the case of former soldier Andy Reid, it's hard to disagree. Just over a week ago, he returned home to his family after becoming the first triple amputee from the UK to scale the top of Mount Kilimanjaro.
When they did get to the top, it was like, wow, you know, took it all in. You could see the amazing views. You're above the clouds, the big glacier to one side of you. It was like, wow, this is something special that I've achieved here. And I know I don't get emotional very often, but I was very emotional there as well.
During the 2-week challenge, Andy's wife and children followed his progress from afar. Whenever technology would allow, they'd check in over FaceTime.
It was quite exciting the first time he called us because, well, we was on our way home from school and we was quite worried about him because we hadn't heard from him. We was really happy and then the second we heard that he called us, both of our faces we were very excited.
I know he was tired.
And were you excited to hear from him?
Yeah. I'm very proud of my dad because, like, he climbed that mountain. Some people can only dream of that. And, like, because he put so much effort into training, I think if you believe that you can do something, I think you should have a go for it.
And while for most people climbing to the top of Africa's highest peak would be considered a once-in-a-lifetime achievement, not for Andy. This was in fact his second time reaching the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, and 13 years on from the blast in Afghanistan, which changed his life.
So the first time I did it, obviously I was serving over in Northern Ireland, and I read the notice board one day and it said wanted 15 volunteers to go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I thought, what a great opportunity to go and see the world, and that's why I joined the army. And this time I just thought, can I still do these things as an injured veteran, as a disabled person? Are these things still possible? It was a test as much to myself as it was to show the people what can be achieved beyond injury.
And you had the support of a team around you who, without them, you wouldn't have been able to do it.
Having the team with me at the time was absolutely amazing. Giving me medical care there and then, on the ground, on the walk, to keep me in the best shape possible.
And as well as that, you had a local team, and I read, that you said they treated you like a king.
Yeah, the Sherpas there, absolutely amazing, these young lads. I had like a special belt on, like a physio kind of belt with handles on the side of it. And every time you come to a big step, they'd get either side of it and they'd be lifting it up, leaving some weight off my limbs and helping me get up a bit at the next step.
Andy's latest challenge has helped him to raise around £50,000 so far for his Standing Tall Foundation. It's a mental health charity supporting young carers, the vulnerable and care leavers. Corporal Reid is hoping the donations will continue to grow.
We're very proud that we can provide mental health services for people absolutely free of charge, absolutely vital service that we're providing. So every step I was taking on the mountain, I knew each step potentially saved someone's life.
And as the saying goes, the top of one mountain is always the bottom of another. So what's next?
I think the next challenge to do is maybe some kind of humanitarian thing, really, rather than a physical challenge or mental challenge.
But right now, Andy is happy taking some time out with his family. Emma Sweeney, ITV News, St Helens.
He doesn't stop, does he?
No.
He's incredible.
Yeah, enjoy that well-deserved time out, Andy.
Yeah, and time with Scarlett and Will as well. Very, very proud of you, you can tell. Here's Mary with the details of the ITV News coming up. On the programme, sacked and then reinstated, Rishi Sunak faces tough questioning in the Commons over his reappointment of the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. The new Prime Minister also faced interrogation on his pledge to protect the most vulnerable, with the Labour leader repeating calls for a general election.
The only time he ran in a competitive election, he got trounced by the former Prime Minister, who herself got beaten by a lettuce.
Also tonight, an ITV exclusive, as prices soar, so does abuse of shop workers. And from beating meningitis to breaking records, the girl who doesn't let anything get in her way. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
OK, on to sport now. And Liverpool can book their place in the Champions League knockout stages tonight, but their inconsistency has been a problem. Here's Chris.
Yeah, it's a question of which Liverpool team turn up tonight, the one which beat Manchester City or the one which lost to Nottingham Forest just a week later. Jurgen Klopp says he's optimistic the team can regain the consistency which has made them title challengers in recent years. Tonight, they only need to avoid defeat against Ajax to secure their passage from the group stage of the Champions League.
Do I expect us to play better consistently? Yes. Am I ready to make the necessary steps to get there? Yes. So it's not very good performances on a consistent level don't fall off the trees. You have to work for it, and you have to go for it in the long term, and that's what we are doing.
Or maybe they should ask Jay Rodriguez for tips after he fired Burnley back to the top of the Championship last night. It's now 15 matches since they last lost a game in any competition after they beat Norwich 1-0 at Turf Moor. In League One, Bolton were losing to Burton Albion with just 3 minutes left, but somehow turned it around for a 2-1 win, clinched in the 98th minute. Elsewhere, Accrington and Morecambe lost, but Fleetwood managed a 1-1 draw with Forest Green. Salford City climbed up to 5th in League Two with a 2-0 win at Hartlepool. Rochdale earned a point thanks to their 1-1 draw at Tranmere. Rovers are just 2 points outside of the playoff spots. Crewe have drawn 4 of their last 5 matches now. They held Wimbledon to a 1-1 scoreline last night, but Barrow are back on track thanks to a 1-0 win over Grimsby, and Stockport County have another win. They beat Carlisle 2-0 at Edgeley Park.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
Well, now to an emotional moment for Everton fan Jess Ruston and her family. Jess has a unique chromosome abnormality and is currently being cared for at Clare House Children's Hospice. But today came some much needed relief as she and her family were made guests of honour at Everton's training ground and even got to meet some of their heroes. Tim Scott was there to see it.
A day out to cherish for the Everton mad Ruston family, who met some of their heroes today at the club's training ground at Finch Farm.
All of my family are Everton, my mum's family, my dad's family. We all go to the match now. Myself, my brother, my sister, my dad, my 7 nephews and my son.
To come in and see how happy everybody is and to be able to do things like this is a great blessing that we've been able to do, and I think we all enjoy being part of being able to do that.
To come in and, you know, make someone's day, even spend the 5 minutes. I know they've had a great day watching training and being around the facility, so yeah, we just want to help out how we can, and if that's spending 5 minutes with someone, then yeah, we love giving our time to help in this way.
Daughter Jess has a chromosome abnormality for which there is no cure. She spent much of her life in hospital, her survival hanging in the balance. She's now receiving palliative care at Clare House Children's Hospice.
She's come through so much, we're almost on borrowed time, and it's a bit like, I don't know, it's really hard to describe. It's a bit like a weight gets lifted, and it's like, do you know what, let's just enjoy every moment. And she is the happiest person you will ever come across. She really, really is.
Hi everyone.
Ex-player, now club ambassador Graham Stewart oversaw the family's tour, which included everything from a training session to the kit room and the gym.
We're known as a people's club, so we've had a difficult couple of years with COVID, etc. So we've now got the ability now to open the place up a little bit more for the likes of Jess's family to come down, and so it's been an honour to take them round and have a look at the facilities here at Finch Farm, and I think they've enjoyed themselves.
The Rustons had the time of their lives today, all thanks to Everton Football Club. The memories they made will last forever. Tim Scott, ITV News.
Yeah, special moment for Jess, and well done to Everton for making it happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris.
Chris, thank you.
And finally tonight, he is often described as Hollywood's greatest leading man, and now Cary Grant's story is to be told by ITV, and it's being filmed on Merseyside right now.
Yeah, the Liverpool actor Jason Isaacs stars in the 4-part drama Archie. Claire Hanna has this report.
Don't touch anything, Draco.
This is how most of you will be used to seeing Jason Isaacs in his role as the terrifying Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter. But this is him now.
One of the most difficult things about doing this job is that I'm from Liverpool, and for 40 years I've not talked like that, but I get here in the morning and everybody's talking to me like that, and it's buried deep in my DNA, and I have to be very careful because I'm trying to sound like Cary Grant, which is hard enough without my original accent coming out.
A different wig and a different eye colour for the lead role in Archie, about Bristol-born Archibald Leach, who became Cary Grant.
The reason I wanted to do this is because we live in an era where celebrities replace religion, and everybody thinks they know and needs to aspire to some kind of shiny lifestyle, which just isn't real. And this is the real picture of the most famous man in the world for decades. And he was tortured, he was haunted, he was damaged by his childhood. And for those of us, I don't separate myself from the crowd, who think that other people have it great and have it perfect because of what they look like, this is a dramatic lesson in how untrue that is.
And the filming is a world away from the glitzy studios of LA.
Now, this really is from Hollywood to Highton. Not often you hear those two words in the same sentence. But this huge unit on the middle of an industrial estate in Highton has been transformed to Hollywood, to Bristol, and to the sets of two major Hollywood films.
We're here in this wonderful studio complex. Huge. I mean, the biggest studio I've filmed in. I've been more blown away by what the team have created here than almost anything I can remember. It is extraordinary.
Also, for Archie's leading lady, time off set has been just as much fun.
I thought when I got the scripts we might be in LA, but we're in Liverpool, and it's actually been amazing.
And I know away from filming, you've been off on your little adventures around the beach.
The beach, Crosby Beach, is my happy place. I'm obsessed with it. I've been there so many times. I just love it. It's so peaceful. Those Anthony Gormleys are beautiful.
Archie will be screened on ITVX next year. Claire Hanna, ITV News, Highton.
I mean, Jason Isaacs does look a little bit like Cary Grant, doesn't he?
He certainly does, yeah.
Here's Kerry with the weather.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada Weather.
Hello, a very good evening to you. A mix of sunshine and showers across the region today. Started off quite wet, a weather front pushing its way north and eastwards, and then brighter skies mixed in with a few rogue but heavy showers and some strong, gusty, blustery winds, especially for the Isle of Man. We have got some sunshine in store over the next few days, but we stick with the exceptionally warm air for October, certainly for late October. A mixture of clear spells and showery rain, and yes, continuing to be windy at times. So low pressure to the north and west of the UK, feeding in that warm southerly airflow, and yes, weather fronts giving a mix of showery rain with clear spells in between, and staying mild all the way through until the end of the month on Halloween itself. As we head through into this evening and overnight tonight, drier, clearer, slightly cooler temperatures for a time, but cloud building and thickening all the while from the south into the early hours, particularly gusty once more for the Isle of Man, and showery outbreaks of rain threatening here by the time we reach dawn. Quite a bit of low cloud and a mild start once more as we head into Thursday. 8 o'clock and 5:48 are your sun times as we head into tomorrow. Expect quite a lot of cloud around, some misty low cloud and fog first thing, and then showery outbreaks of rain with a few heavy pulses pushing north. We're hoping for a drier and slightly brighter afternoon, and if we get the sunshine, the temperatures could pop up to around 18 or 19 Celsius, and with lighter winds compared to today, it's going to feel really quite warm. It will be warm compared to the average of around 13 for this time of year. A particularly wet and windy spell early on Friday, but clearing to sunshine. Maybe not quite as mild, but definitely above average over the next few days.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada Weather.
Thanks, Kerry. Well, before we go, some very cute pictures here of a new baby rhino at Chester Zoo.
The rare greater one-horned calf arrived to mum Asher after a 16-month pregnancy.
Yeah, they're described as under threat in the wild from poaching and habitat loss, and the new arrival will eventually weigh up to 1.5 tonnes.
What an absolute cutie pie.
Gorgeous.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Good night.